Hey guys, welcome back to Hardcastle Homestead. It is a gorgeous January 30th here today, and I am just doing a quick check-in and going to be showing you a time-lapse of some of the stuff we are working on in the winter. Our 10-day forecast is in our first of 3 fake springs. So this is the one usually where I go and remulch the beds, and sometimes I'll even put out some of my longer cool weather crops, which I've got cabbage, broccoli, and 3 or 4 varieties of kale going right now, all very frost hardy plants. I like doing it when the 10-day forecast is on one of these fake springs because it gives it a few days to adjust, and then when the temperatures dip back below, I just put on a Lowe tunnel cover like I did last year, and that worked really well with our method because even in our lows right now, 20 degrees is a pretty common low at the night. But for these next 10 days, they're going to be over freezing, so it gives it plenty of time to adjust. So without going into too much more detail, just doing a quick check-in, getting back to it, guys. Goal this year is to try and put out 4 videos a month minimum, which means more than 4 is actual goal for me. I'm just so excited to be back in the garden again. It was a very good holiday season, but I'm very ready. I'm also excited to be talking about some of the new things I'm testing now as a gardener this year, and I'll take you along with it. A lot of it's going to be learning how to take my cut flowers from the garden. Sorry, I've got see, there she is. I've got a toddler in the background. Also, if you ever want to see what it's like gardening with a toddler, she's in most of my videos because I am a stay-at-home mom now. But back onto the topic of this year's goals. This year I'm challenging myself to get better at building floral arrangements, just because I love growing them in the garden, and to get more flower production, it is great to cut and harvest so more will grow back. The goal is to really up my flower production this year on top of continuing to stay on the input or output I'm doing of preserving and canning all the garden goods. This year I'm also going to be trying to do a little bit more proactive methods when it comes to trying to finally grow squash. We're going to try. We'll go into those methods later on this year. And another big one that I've always wanted to do, but I've been too scared to do, is I've been wanting to grow wheat and mill my own wheat. So that's going to be another goal this year, both growing wheat for grinding, amaranth, and then also doing ornamental wheats for cut flowers and making bouquets. So I am so excited to be back, and I'm so excited for the 2024 growing season. Make sure to subscribe to my page to follow for all of the updates, and hit that little bell to get alerts when new videos post. Without further ado, we're going to go into a time lapse. Also, just to go into a little information here, I did move the greenhouse this year, and I'm loving that location. There's where the first bed is done. You can see, like, they're kind of falling over right now. They just need to be re-supported. But those are the basic tiers that I'm doing. I did rebar in the ground and then PVC piping to just make the loop. And I could buy a 100-foot pack of the PVC piping at, I think it was Lowe's or Home Depot. But they're at all of the general stores like that. And then you can see where the greenhouse used to be. I've added the 2 beds that were against the house. After 2 years of growing right next to the house, there's just not enough sun for what I want to grow in my garden. So I decided to flip-flop them. And with having the greenhouse there, when there's no leaves on the trees, the greenhouse is getting ample amount of sun in the winter, which is great. But then it'll also be able to provide some shade for the hot summer months, which will be great. If you notice, there is this very white fine powder, which I have spread into all the gardens just to give some extra boost. I really like, in general, this brand, Down to Earth. I love Down to Earth. This is not an affiliation. This is what I like to buy when I go to my local AM grower store. And what I love about this whole system is it's all compostable, which is great. I did put fresh compost from my compost bin in these 2 beds here, and I have 1 more wheelbarrow full, but for the first year doing compost, I feel pretty good that I got 3 wheelbarrows full of fresh compost I did not have to buy. It goes into all of the different levels, what they're good for. I love that it goes and breaks down into the percentages, which not a lot of people know about unless you're really into this. And then it goes into how you do applications, but I am a lazy millennial gardener. That's just fun facts. So I grab a handful and I just sprinkle it on top, and then I will also be doing worm tea throughout the summer, which will be great. Alright guys, I've got 1, 2, I still count the little mini up there, it's on bed, 3, 4, 5 beds already with this really nice easy straw. And make sure you're getting the straw, not hay, because this, at least they're promoting, which if you advertise it, 99% weed free, meaning seed free. But I have been using it from Menards for 2 seasons now, and honestly I haven't had really any type of weed or grass come up in it, so I do trust its reliability and to say this is some really good stuff. But yeah, I use that for my garden beds. And it does cover up to about 500-600 square feet. I do mulch pretty thick though, so I'd say it's probably more like 400 to 500 square feet for me, just looking at the bed space I have. And I still have, so we did that. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These cloth beds are gonna be metal 6-foot by 1-foot beds, and I'm gonna do my peppers and sweet peas here this year, as well as I'm taking out this rose bush against this bed frame fence, and I'm gonna do blueberries right here. And so I'm gonna do a 6-foot by 3-foot bed there. And then by the greenhouse, I plan on extending out a pretty little flower bed by it. You okay? Okay. And doing a lot of my medicinal flowers and herbs there. Speaking of that, we have stratified the marshmallow root and German chamomile and milk thistle, and here they are. Just got planted out. They have been in my fridge in a Ziploc bag with the dates marked January 30th to get out here, so I brought them out yesterday because I was too excited, and I left them in there for 4 weeks so that they could have that cold process, which is what they naturally already go through when they are outdoors and they drop seeds from fall into winter. So it's kind of a man-made way of doing the process, which is great for me. These were all my volunteer lettuce, and then I brought them in during those super cold days and they started to bolt. So some of the smaller ones should be fine, but I'm gonna have to harvest some of these bigger ones and hopefully they still taste okay. I also was very late to the party, but I got some of my tulips, my irises, my daffodils, and more different irises planted just last week. And I did close-knit planting just to get them going. The plan is still to put them in the ground. So yeah, going into this though, we've got calabrese broccoli, black magic kale, scarlet kale, more scarlet kale, which you can see, it's very interesting. These were outside, those were not, and they're not as dark as they usually are with the leaves, but that happens when they don't have sunlight. And then I've got Brunswick cabbage, and I plan on planting more, but I didn't get to it because I'm working a part-time job now. But still got some planted, which is great. These guys are going to be going into that straw bed. Hello, my love. You want to come say hi? Hey, you say hi? Uh-huh.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Bye. Yep. Well, on to the next bit. We're going to be going back into the garden, and we're going to be planting out this Brunswick cabbage and probably some of the scarlet kale, because I love kale and I miss kale and I want to get it going. So we'll go into our next time. All right, guys, it's super bright. I'm sorry if my glasses are reflecting. Here. So before I get started on the time lapse, actually, I want to kind of just show you kind of the tools, what I use. This is a Hori Hori, and I've not taken very good care of my tools. I got this one on Amazon. Same with this dibber. But these are two of my favorite little toys for getting my seed starts going in the ground. The Hori Hori, I can dig a nice big hole, just sticking it down. It's got measurements on the side of it, so you can actually see how far down and deep you're going. That's really good for like your pots that are bigger than the 1 inch by 1 inch little cells. This is great for 1 inch cells because you can just stick it right down and then pop the cell in. Great for home gardening. So highly recommend. Also, I think we have a message. What is that?
Here. Here.
Yeah, thank you. Is a kitty eating gnomes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Can you put it in the garden? Yeah? Is it Kiki? We love Kikis.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, bye. I love my munchkin. She's why I do this. But now I'm going into the time lapse, and I will see you once we have everything planted. So now it's been about maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. We are starting to have a meltdown. So I'm going to do this super fast on the last time lapse. But we have the cabbage and the kale planted. The kale, I know I break the mold when I say this, but I do not trim the strongest plant until after I have it in the ground, in case any of them don't transplant well. So I actually will put them bulked up in the ground, or I will divide them as I'm putting them in the ground and get more plants that way, just kind of like you do with tomatoes and peppers as well. I've never had an issue where, at least with my kale, that this method just did not work for them. You're so over it. And then that's the same thing I did with my cabbage too, but kale I put in bulk in the ground because it is limited space, so I'm going to wait for the strongest one to get a little bit bigger. The cabbage, however, I did divide up already. They've already got their first true leaves on. Yes, you can wait longer to get it in the soil and keep it in your greenhouse till they're bigger, but once again, I'm making this judgment call based on our next 10-day forecast, so it is a little bit early for them to go in. But the weather's at an optimal place, so I know they're going to thrive out here being in the soil where they're going to end up anyway. And who knows, with it being Missouri, it could be in 11 days, 2 feet of snow on the ground and hell to pay for, I guess. Or heck to pay for. Sorry if anyone is offended by that. I do apologize. I try to watch my mouth. I can't help it. It's so cute. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the time lapse, and I will see you guys at the very end, and you can see the finished product. Alright guys, I'm going ahead and grab you here. So, I really wish I would have learned this rule a long time ago. So sorry if you're a little bit shaky or here. Oh, don't mind the double chin. I love that camera angle. My definitely go-to advice on today that I'm trying to even do better on this year. Also, a little hot mess. Need to do a backyard cleanup. But my number one lesson I'm going to be preaching today is the art of being mindful and completing a task. For a long time, I have always started projects and I don't finish them. And it's just who I am. I am diagnosed ADHD and I go a little bit space case sometimes. But let me tell you how expensive it is to replace tools because you let them stay out in the environment with the rain and the sunshine and the snow and didn't properly clean them off or take them into their home. I'm a huge culprit of this. I still probably right now, let's see, lobbers, shovel, rake, hula hoop, and a hammer, and the hose. I didn't even roll the hose up. I still gotta work on this task, so that is one of my goals this year as well. But be mindful of respecting your tools because it's not fun to have to replace them every few years when you can do a very simple thing of picking them up, taking them to your greenhouse, covered patio, inside to a storage room if you have it, into the basement, whatever you may do, on your balcony where it's at least covered from the elements. And also in the wintertime before you start this process, clean them, care for them. Meaning if you need to oil them, sharpen blades, whatever it may be, show them love and they will last you decades. Tools still are built of good quality in my opinion. It's just the user, me in this case, is not respecting them as more than just an object or a tool. I need to respect them as an extension of my hand in this garden. And gardening is so much easier when you allow yourself to have good tools that you take care of. Also, these are really, really cute. We have tea parties under the covered patio. Right? Where's your teacup? I need some snacks. Can I have some snacks? Okay, thank you. I would like a crumpet, please. I'll get your shoe that you took off and we'll go inside. So, as I'm collecting my daughter's boots and socks, and sand in the boots. She might need a morning bath. I wanted to give you just a simple, this is what it looks like from just a little section in my garden. And there she is. I do also like this method because I made the mistake of thinking my dog was responsible, which he is not, and I should have known better. But all winter he has been living in that bed, as in by sunbathing when he gets to go outside and rolling around in the dirt and being a dog. Just being a dog. He still is an indoor dog and he comes inside. He's not outside, I promise. He's spoiled. But this will help keep my dog off that bed. I will probably do a tutorial as well of how I built this with some of my other beds this year because I really liked this method, and this is going to continue to be used this way for the spring and the summer. But instead of the plastic, it's just going to be like a mesh over the top, and it's going to be able, Iris, no. It's going to be able to keep the bugs off of it because the mesh is there, or at least try and minimize it. So yeah, I am so happy to be back with you guys in the garden. And just a reminder, it may be January, but as always, make sure that you go outside and you get dirty. Bye guys.